Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Ready, Headset, Go. I'm Tony Hansen, joined by Rob Sprance, and today we're going to go over a lot of awesome things that are going on. We have Decentraland, we have NFTs, which are blowing up, as we know. So also, what about everyone who's getting headsets for Christmas? We're going to help you get started with VR and show you what's cool, what's not, and then our VR game of the week. So sit back, settle in, and ready, headset, let's go. Welcome to the show, everybody. So we have a great show for you today. We're very excited. Again, we're going to go over a lot of cool things that's going on with the Metaverse, NFTs. They are literally exploding right now. And then VR, more and more people are getting into VR. Rob, you've been into VR for a very long time. Does that make you feel vindicated?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Look, I'm excited that there's tons of posts people putting up on Twitter. Hey, I just got my new Quest. I just got my new Quest. I just got my new Quest. The only concern I have is that it's Quest. But that being said, it is a great entry-level headset. And there are rumors out there. No one's confirmed these numbers, but some of the software developers have kind of extrapolated things and tried to figure out the sales. And they're estimating that Oculus has now sold about 6 to 8 million Quests.
Wow.
Which in terms of VR, that's a very big deal. That is getting it a little more to the mainstream now. And that really is, I guess, the goal. And, last week I talked about my concerns about the Quest being the one that everybody grabs. But you know what? As of now, it is the easiest headset to get started in VR, and it's the cheapest headset to get started in VR. And frankly, after I had the PSVR for a while, I didn't use it, and I bought the Quest 1, and that is what spiraled me into this rabbit hole of spending way too much money on high-end PC VR. So I am excited about that. And I think it's, since this show is kind of a combination of VR and what the Metaverse will become, what the most important thing for anything is to get enough people using it, because then that incentivizes developers to build more applications for it.
Right.
And we all know how that goes. So as far as adopting VR, this is the most exciting time we've had yet. And unfortunately, Meta is the one to thank for it.
So what do you think? I know Quest has, I don't know if they still sell it. Does Quest still sell the wired version of it, the original?
Well, no, they had a Rift S, which was their wired version. The
Right.
Quest is a wireless. They have a way that you can connect. You can play PC VR. It is compressed, and that's one of the things that I'm not a fan of. But
Right.
if you have a gaming PC now and you really want wireless, and then the Quest is the way to go. But at the same time, if you just have a Quest, you can still plug in that you can get a cable for Quest Link, which will enable you to at least stream VR to your headset with as minimal latency as possible. Or you can even do it with two different apps. There's a virtual desktop app, or Oculus has their own AirLink. Virtual desktop, I think, is the better of the two. But if you just got one for Christmas, you can unbox it, stick it on your head, and start. That's the beauty of the Quest.
Right.
To a Wi-Fi, you don't need a computer, you don't need anything. And it is, especially on the controller side, they're very, very well built. The headset itself, they've cut some corners on the second iteration, but again, it's clearly working because that low price point is. And another thing that they did, which was brilliant, is when they knew Christmas was coming and they knew they were going to make a big push, they are in stock everywhere as compared to pretty much everything else. The Quest outsold the Xbox in the month of December, which is unheard of. Granted, you can't find an Xbox, but still, this became everyone's go-to gift, so it's a big deal.
Yeah, compared to Xbox, it's a weird time for Xbox because they had that console trying to go out for a long time. It's been very difficult to get, and I don't you don't see a lot of new games or anything that's really grabbing you to get the Xbox right now. So it's actually a perfect time. It kind of opens up that void to let VR coming in because, metaverses are huge right now. Roblox for kids, and for adults as Decentraland, the Sand, things like that. And so, yeah, maybe this will be the box spring that leaps VR into that popular bubble. So I have the one I have is the original Oculus Quest, where it's all wired. I have 3 different sensors around the room, I'm able to play, and it's pretty good. I don't experience the compression of the wireless one. So the wireless one, you're able to plug it in if you want to, or you just can't.
Yep. You can plug it in, but the way it works is different. So the one you have is you have the original Oculus. I don't know which model it is that you have specifically, but you have the original one of the original Oculuses before they started going
Before Quest.
Yes, before Quest and before
Right.
Facebook Land, which is a great headset. But the difference is your headset and some of the other ones I use when I play PC VR acts like a monitor. So you're plugging the DVI cable in, and the visual is going right to the lenses.
Right.
That's not the case with the Quest because it wasn't built that way. So they had to kind of retro fit an aftermarket solution to get it working. So they came up with an idea where on your PC it's compressing the image, sending it to the headset, and the headset itself is decompressing the image. Now it works pretty well until you try a higher resolution direct to lens headset. Then you go, wow, what a difference. But for anyone who just but again, it costs a lot of money to do that. You mentioned base stations. I have 2 base stations. I have Valve Index controllers that I use with my Reverb G2. It's kind of a hybrid. That's something we'll talk about in a future episode, how you can get hybrid solutions, because on my Reverb G2, the visuals are beautiful. The tracking is pretty crappy. So I have a hybrid of it where I can use Valve Index controllers with the base stations, and I still use my other option. They're hacks, but they work really, really well. But what I put together here, since a lot of people are getting their headsets, is the best places to get started. And these are apps that are kind of bridging what we talk about, which is getting the metaverse feel on your headset. So there are games, of course, that are standalone that you play by yourself. I love them. I play them all the time. But for this purpose, I wanted to talk about some of the ways that you can experience the metaverse, and why we said last week it kind of exists already with or without Facebook getting involved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to tell anyone who's putting it on their headset for the first time, start with an app that you don't move a lot. So this one it does have share features, but it's just a straight up game, and it's called Beat Saber. Everyone's heard of that. It's the most popular one. There's a reason why. Firstly, you just stand still. You can get motion sickness when you start VR and you're moving around a lot. And the best way to avoid it is the second you start to feel sick, put your headset down and stop playing for a day. Go back to it. And then all of a sudden, over time, you're going to get what's called VR legs. No different than sea legs. Your body starts to adjust and understand what you're doing. It's really
VR legs. It's
you
great.
have to get your VR legs. Like now I can do anything. I can play racing games, flying games. But in the beginning, the first time everything started moving, I was like, oh, and I took my headset off because I got sick. So don't power through if you feel sick. So just play it, stop when you don't feel good, start the next day. Within a couple of weeks, you'll be good. So Beat Saber is not one of the apps I had selected there, but it's a good one to get used to VR because there's a lot going on your senses. So you want to at least get them used to it. So I've broken this up into 3 different things. I've got just straight up communities, which are probably the closest to the whole metaverse that you're going to get. Then there are social games and experiences, which kind of blend the two together. And then there's just true gaming that is also shared multiplayer so that you can still play with friends. So all of these are ones that you can play with communities and you play with friends. Now, in the communities, we touched on this a little bit. There is everything from VR chat to Altspace VR to Rec Room, and the barren Facebook Horizons are the 4 really that are just these places for people to get together, create their own little environments, hang out together, private rooms, public rooms. Out of those, VR chat happens to be my favorite. Rec Room is really a lot more kids, especially because it can be played without a VR headset too. So out of that batch, VR chat is my favorite. Because there are a lot of different rooms that you can go into. And then there are also these communities on Discord where you can go for adults that have their own private club nights and party nights and all of these different things. So that will help you get a little character, walk in, walk around. You're going to look at people. They're going to talk to you. You're going to talk to them. Some will be annoying. Some will not be. But there's experiences there. There are clubs where people go and literally dance. There are nice environments where you can go and watch fireworks with people. You can do it publicly or you can do it privately. So
I would recommend a few games that I've played that, like you said, I think it's a great idea. Like if you're going to get into VR, like my wife, she can't play anything that where the perspective is changing too rapidly because it'll make her sick. And I've experienced that only in a few games, but for the most part, I'm okay. So I think that anything, like you said, that starts you off with a stationary perspective is good.
yeah.
I would put my 2 cents in and say Tilt Brush, which is a drawing program, allows you just to experience VR at your own pace, and it's just you moving around only by choice. Nothing moves you. Also, Siege VR. I actually had the world record, as my 13-year-old self is very happy. I had the
Really?
world record for maybe like 6 months until somebody ousted me. And that's a fun game. You basically it's an archery game. You're on top of a castle and you're shooting skeletons that are trying to invade,
Nice.
and that's a lot of fun. And the last one I would say is Space Pirate Trainer, which
Yeah.
is
Yep.
play that one.
Yep, it's another fun one for sure. Another stationary game where things
Right.
come at you. Yep, very good ideas and good games to start with for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Space
So
Pirates.
yeah, so like we're saying, like this, Rob is saying that like this is the beginning of the metaverse because you're seeing all these elements of the metaverse coming together, and then obviously the metaverse is that'll be that one time where it's like the internet, where you can be an avatar on the internet and you can go shopping, you can go play a game, do anything you want. If you have an item from one game, you could take it to another game. It's like real life, but in a digital presence, and we're getting closer and closer to that. I even tried, Rob, you were telling me to try VR chat, which I did.
Mhm.
And my name was my real name. So that was unfortunate because everyone was like, "Hey, Tony, what's up, Tony?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't change it." So, but yeah, I was talking to people that are dressed as raccoons and weird different species and stuff. They're just talking and chilling and hanging out. But
Yeah,
that is, you can see where it's going because it's definitely coming to. I'm gonna go online and chill with my friends. And why would I want to talk to you on the phone when I can video chat you? Well, why would I want to video chat you when I can go and have a more virtual experience that we both share together?
yeah.
So it's interesting, and I think the battle that's coming up is going to be the same battle that came for um, uh, first person shooters.
Mhm.
Because there for a while for FPSs, it was a battle for almost like the stick matrix, the controller mapping and such. And
Mhm.
if you learned one game, you're like, oh, this is how you play this game. And you learned another game, it used to be you had to learn that game. And then after a while, it finally got to the point where it was like, this is going to be what it is. And then every game, if you all you had to do is pick it up and play because you played Halo and now you could play, Modern Warfare or whatever the next game was. So I think that there's going to be a battle, or there is a battle for the perspective. Like take the metaverse, take Decentraland, where you can go into first person perspective, or you could be out in third person perspective. And I go back and forth, which is the way I want to play. But if you do something like VR chat, when you're in that first perspective mode, it's super engaging.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to win. But you're seeing everyone is making them all different ways until we kind of settle on one that we all agree is the way to go, which has to be the first. I think is going to be the first person perspective, going forward.
Yeah, the irony is, as a longtime gamer, I didn't like first person shooters. I always liked games where I saw my character. Like
Right,
RPGs, Witcher, Skyrim. I would go to where I could see my character.
right,
Horizon, Uncharted, you name it. But it's odd that as much as I was so strongly against it, like when Cyberpunk was announced,
right.
I after loving The Witcher, when I found out it was first person, like I was heartbroken. I was like, come on. But guess what? Like in VR, first person is better because you're the person.
Oh wow, you played Cyberpunk with the VR.
So there's a mod for it. It's a mod that just got released. So the guy who created this, there's a software out there called Vorpix, which is created by a developer that has come up with these hacks where you can hook on to a regular game, launch it in VR, and it can simulate 3D and simulate VR.
Okay,
And it's with mixed results. Like most of them, I wasn't a fan of. But this guy's come out with a mod, and this guy, well, another guy named Luke Ross, who also did a mod for Grand Theft Auto 5 for VR.
okay.
He's doing one. He did one for Horizon Zero Dawn. So there's plenty of mods available to do it. He just released one. I just saw it yesterday, so I haven't tried it yet, for Cyberpunk 2077. And
Wow, 'cause that game is beautiful.
it is, but some of the caveats are you play it with a regular controller. You're not using the touch controls. Your headset is your aiming. So like when you look to shoot, you aim to shoot with your head instead of using the directional to pick. So you're looking around or you're aiming with your head. It worked with Grand Theft Auto 2. The only thing I wasn't crazy about, and this mod has the same thing, it uses an alternate eye rendering to simulate 3D. So if your headset doesn't have a high enough refresh rate, it can get you a little queasy.
Okay.
But again, if you have anything relatively modern and a beefy PC, which for Cyberpunk you're going to need it anyway, you could experience that in VR. So it's the modding community, and we're drifting off here. I'm going to rope this back in a second, but the modding community is doing an incredible job with PC VR right now. The Resident Evil series, the remakes are all coming out in January with a mod.
Right.
So all of a sudden now, because there's not as many PC VR titles because of Quest, modders are jumping into the game and making games that aren't VR playable in VR, and I'm really excited.
That's great, because the more that the community pushes it through, the more that the distributors will wake up and realize, and they'll start pushing it along themselves.
Absolutely. But you mentioned some of those social games. You mentioned Space Pirate and those. So here's some other social games and experiences on your new headset that you definitely want to try, which give you that blend of the metaverse where you have your own little avatar and you're playing with other friends. One is called Walkabout Mini Golf, which is way more fun than it should be. It is mini golf, but it has a full social aspect, so you can play with your friends and you see them play with you. Another one is 11 table tennis, where you're playing ping pong with friends and stuff. I play with my dad all the time. He lives in New Jersey. We play together all the time. We put the headsets on. We put ourselves in an Olympic stadium and we play ping pong with each other. And
it's awesome.
It's awesome. Big screen VR, as you know, Tony, we've done many a movie screening in big screen. It puts you in all these different types of environments, and the coolest ones are these big movie theaters with tremendous screens, and you can stream your own movies on it or watch movies that they already have and go to an existing movie theater. So big screen is really a metaverse version of a movie theater. And the last one I want to mention, but there are so many more, but the last one is Pokerstars VR, which is a poker game, but same concept. Everyone has an avatar. Everyone sits at a table. It's all real people. You're talking to each other and interacting with each other in these virtual worlds. And all of these, I think, are ones that really you need to check out because they do blend what we like to talk about the most, which is metaverse and VR.
Yeah, awesome. I actually just mentioned a lot of games I didn't know about, and I'm gonna have to download them.
And we'll play. And you know what? As this show starts moving along and chugging along, we'll start doing some giveaways where we can all hang out in a big screen theater and watch a movie together one night.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We can all play games. I have the VR game of the week is a social experience too, which I'll talk about when we get there.
Awesome. You might as well do it now. Let's cap off the VR. Give us the game of the week. What do you recommend?
Sure. All right. So the VR game of the week I have picked is called After the Fall. It's a brand new game that came out from the people who did a game called Arizona Sunshine, which is a zombie killer game. This, guess what? Zombie killer game again. The only difference, though, it is a lot more modern looking. It is a 4-player co-op. So there's no, you can play the game with bots, but you and 3 other friends can get together, play together, and go through these missions. The graphics are really, really nice. At least I'm playing on PC VR. But one of the things I really love about what they did is they have it cross-platform. So I can play with someone with a Quest, I can play with someone on PC VR, and we can play with someone from PlayStation VR, and we can all play in the same instance. Now
so this isn't sorry to interrupt. So this isn't like you're stuck in one spot. This is actually you're actually moving around like your own little like MMO, your world, and you're fighting against, I guess you said, like zombies and such.
Yeah, so there's like different missions where you go through the missions and it's like this snow frozen LA, which is kind of a cool concept, and the scenery looks really, really cool, and just waves of zombies come at you and your friends, and you have to figure out, how to work through the environment together. And you collect this collectibles, you upgrade your guns and stuff like that. At launch, there's only 5 levels, and they're about 20 to 30 minutes per level. I'm hoping that they add a lot more levels as time goes on, but it's a great way to jump into a game once you get your VR legs and you start realizing that, hey, I can walk around with the thumbstick. I don't have to use the teleport feature. And you start getting used to that. It's a great game to play. It's a lot of fun, and it's definitely something late night you and your buddies can just go through and start
Right.
blowing some people away.
And what Rob is talking about, for those who are not familiar, like you have basically these two main ways to move around. You have the way where you can just move on your thumbstick, which you're familiar with from other games. You also have something where it'll tell you like where you're going to go. It'll point to a spot, and you can press a button, and you'll teleport to that spot. And
Mhm.
it's good for people who don't have a lot of. I mean, when you're moving a thumbstick, it's really good for people who want to feel like they're in like the holodeck. You know, they want to move around. You know, you can move around within the field. That's in the safe area. But otherwise, you really need to move the thumbstick or use a teleport feature and things like that.
Yeah, I know you have the ability with your quest to draw a guardian wall and
Hmm.
know where the wall is, but as I got better at it, I don't really move from a stationary, 4x4 square. I use the thumbstick to move around. I turn
Right.
around physically as much as I can, but even so, you can use the thumbstick to turn. So if you're used to regular gaming, you're going to be used to those thumbsticks. The teleport is a great middle ground. When you first start playing, it'll just get your body used to moving a little bit, and they have these features, comfort features they call it, where you get these vignettes that close in on your eyes whenever you move to kind of keep you from getting motion sick. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it is. But as time goes on and you get your VR legs, you just start turning all of that stuff off, and it's just like regular gaming all over again.
I
So
had a game, I don't recall the name of it. It's in my library somewhere, but basically to move, you had to do this. You go up and down,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it makes your character move forward, which I thought was really
Yeah,
funny.
the Rocky game has something like that where when you get knocked out, you're far, far away from the ring. So in order to get back to your semi-unconscious character and bring him back up, you have to swing your arms real fast until you get up to your body, and then you wake up. So as the ref's counting, you're going as fast as you can to get
And
back
this
to your
brings in the secondary show that while you get the entertainment of playing the game, your family and friends get to watch you look like an idiot because
yes, exactly.
especially if they don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, all you have to do is look on TikTok and do Quest right now, and there's 5 million videos of people got it for Christmas,
Yeah.
falling into televisions and all of this stuff.
Oh my
You
God. Yeah,
don't have
absolutely.
to worry about that. Stay stationary and use the thumbsticks. Unless you're in a huge space, there's no reason for you to start walking around. I know it's fun, but after a couple of minutes, you're gonna start bumping into walls, and the guardians
Yep.
stop popping up and everything else.
Yep. Sometimes if you're just starting, it's good to have somebody who's a spotter, just kind of watching out for the windows and everything else around you, keeping you
Yep,
safe.
for sure, for sure.
Um, let's head into metaverse right now because the metaverse, like VR, they're growing together and they're kind of in the same family. One of the most popular ones is, and there's many, and there's ones that are coming up that are going to be huge, like Gala and such, which I'm super excited about. It's kind of like a Dungeon and Dragons kind of
Oh, nice.
metaverse where you're able to purchase your house, you purchase the avatar you play with, and all things like that. But today we're going to talk about Decentraland, which is built on using mana for cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
And Decentraland basically is third person to first person. It looks like a evolved version of like a Wii character. And the graphics look a little better than that. But the game does a great job because it constantly has to manufacture and produce the environment around you as you're traveling. So everything is built into parcels, and they've been going pretty fast. People are actually making a living right now, uh, just buying, selling, and trading these parcels. Like instead of selling real estate in the real world, they're selling digital real estate, and they're making money flipping properties. So it's interesting because it ties into the conversation of NFTs. So NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and in the game of Decentraland, which as it is in many other things, almost everything is a thing that you could purchase, you could own, you could trade, you could sell.
Mhm.
So, like in real life, I'm sitting in my office right now. All these books behind me, I could buy, trade, sell them, and I own that book over there and that book over there. You know, I own the wall tile, the light. Technically, I own all this stuff, and I could sell it if I want to. And the metaverse is kind of just establishing itself by showing people and utilizing it that way. That look, you can own the land you know in one spot. You can own a wearable that you can use. Sometimes a game or an application or a software or a program or a brand will say, well, if you own an NFT, you're going to have this advantage. You know, you're going to have this modifier in the game. So that's kind of what's developing with it so far. Some of the most, I would say, notable spots are in Decentraland now that I've seen is that you have some developers making experiences on their properties, which are interesting, playing little fun games using the avatar in the game. But you have Wondermind right now, which is kind of like one of the main things that people are doing on Decentraland. And Wondermind basically is a play to earn game where you're playing along. It feels like a Minecraft situation where you're mining out things and you're earning ingredients and better tools to allow you to eventually cash all that in for an NFT. And the NFTs are finite, so there's only 1,000 created. So people are putting up these NFTs on markets like OpenSeas, and they're putting them up for $100, $20, 30, $300, $400, and they go up way beyond that. We're not even going to talk about all that, but so some people just be like, you know what, I'm just going to go OpenSeas and buy it, and then they do it, and that's fine. Some people try to earn their way up, and they get it. It might take them a month, it might take them 2 months. So people are spending their time in Wondermind doing that. There's another one called it's called Golf Craft, I think it is. And people are playing like this golf game in there, and you earning the the NFTs in their game, and you earn those. And the idea is that people are thinking that these might be worth something in the future because there are quite a few NFTs that came out in the last 2 years or so, that now skyrocketed to crazy, absurd amounts. And so everyone is just looking to take them and flip them. And so, that is really what's going on in the market now. The last thing that I would put a spotlight on that's happening, and there's a lot of things that will happen in the metaverse, a lot of things that will happen at Decentraland. Decentraland is completely decentralized. It's run by the users. It's voted on by the users, I should say. And what you'll see popping up is casinos. And how it works is that, for example, Atari has their own little store, and they have like a representation of their video games and such, which you really can't play the video games yet, but I think in the future you will. And but they also have a casino. You go up to the casino and you're playing blackjack. You're playing a couple different games. And basically you can play with mana, you could play with DAI, and basically you just need to use your MetaMask wallet. You can onboard from there. You link it up and you activate it in a game. And you're playing for real money, or you can play for free coin, which you earn just by sitting there and standing there in the casino. And that's an incentive, obviously, to get you in a swing of things. It's also a little bit of a mind game because when you're playing, even if you're losing, you're earning money. So you look down at your balance and you go, "Oh, it's not that bad." Meanwhile, you've been earning money. It's like imagine going to the casino in real life and someone keeps putting $5 in your pocket every minute. You'd be like, "Oh, I'm not really doing that bad." So
it's funny, because I mentioned that Pokerstars VR, and they do something like that too, where every, I think it's 8 hours, or you can go up to this wheel, spin it, and it gives you more money. Now, granted, this is not real currency in this. This is just fake currency in the game. So most people, before they play offline, okay, everybody throw in $200 into the pool. Let's go online and play. Whoever wins gets $200.
Right. And it works to get you used to it. And then the next stage you're looking at and you go, you know what? I have mana. I have some coins. How about I'll put some in, you start playing, and there you go. You're gambling for real. So, they use that by, just having everything set up legally. I know they use like some kind of either a bank or an entity out, and I believe in UK, and it's all legal the way it's done. But in the end user experience is you sitting in a virtual environment, going over to, in this world, which is a frog, the meme frog, who's sitting there and he's a dealer, and you're just kind of doing your stuff. But think about the implication of this, because you're now talking about spending money, spending your time in the metaverse, in Decentraland, and people can not only go over there and spend the money on the game gambling, but people are leasing out tables. So, for example, you'll have someone come along that'll be a casino, and they buy all these properties, right? And let's say that there's 50 properties, 50 parcels of land inside. So you walk into it and you see the whole thing, which looks like a unified front. And what they'll do inside is they'll build a spot for a table to kind of say to people who want to invest and say, hey, you can buy this, or you can lease this rather, and you're going to get 30% of everything that these people spend for as long as you own it. So it's actually, an asset that you can own that's making you money, passive income pretty much, because you don't do anything. And you just got to hope that the casino does well and they're making money. So people are starting to look into ideas like that. And they're also, in other cases where companies are having hosts, the companies are actually hiring on hosts. They're hiring on people to market for them. They're hiring people to run the tables. So you're seeing people going from IRL jobs to going into this Decentraland, or to going into different metaverses and starting to get jobs online.
Crazy. I pulled up Mana on Coinbase. It's $3.90 at the moment. I've been looking for a crypto to invest in, more so ones that, where you can get a lot of shares for not too much money, and hope for the home run like everybody does.
Right.
I noticed though that it says Decentraland Mana. So is this exclusive just to Decentraland? Like, can this be used outside of that? Is there a separate cryptocurrency that can be used not only in the metaverse, but you can take it outside of that as well?
So you could so for those who are just getting into crypto is pretty interoperable. So you could actually take one crypto, exchange it for another, and then move it somewhere else. And that's kind of how it is. People are, if you're very much into it, you're actually a part of a lot of different exchanges, because maybe there's a coin that comes out that's hard to get, and you need to transfer your money in an unusual way to get there to get it. In the case of Mana is using Decentraland. That's its like utility. It's exactly like when the U.S. created the petrodollar with Saudi Arabia and such, and they said, oh well, if you're gonna buy oil, you have to use U.S. dollars. Decentraland says that if you want to use and buy stuff, you need to have Mana. So utility for Mana is in Decentraland. But does that mean that you can't get out of Mana anytime you wanted to? Absolutely, you could. So you could trade Mana anytime and do a conversion to another crypto and get out. And if you want to play the game where you're trying to get in and make money just by the value of Mana going up and down, you could do that. If you want to go into Decentraland and buy property, yes, you're going to have to use Mana eventually and buy the property there. And now your property, the only way it gets out, let's say you wanted to sell, would be through Mana. So you're going to have to cash into Mana first, and then you'll cash out to whichever you go to next.
So then Mana is tied to the success of Decentraland. Like they're
it is right now. Yes. If I have a business, I have a studio called Phoenix Studios. If I create Phoenix Coin, Phoenix Studios, and that's what it is. And let's say Phoenix Studios does $1 million per year. So that's what we do. That's our ecosystem, and that's what it is. And then maybe someone comes along and they say, you know what? I want to use Phoenix Coin for whatever reason. Then the utility gets bigger. And that is also helping create I don't want to keep saying metaverse to everything, but that the fact that you can get something to be used by everything is really where we're trying to go. You're trying to get a coin that everyone agrees is a coin of value that they want to use, and it could be used everywhere. Right now, the ones that really have that are, well, this is a yes and no, is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and people can use those coins. Bitcoin has no utility. It's not being used by anybody, but it's being used by everybody to exchange
to a different currency.
Yeah, but there's nobody using Bitcoin, and the creator of Bitcoin is mysterious and elusive at best, and it's all about the utility that's coming forward. Which now that we're going into 2022, it looks like we're finally going to see utility on a much bigger spread. So you'll see these things come up. Mana has been around for a long time, but now Decentraland is here and now up front. So will Mana grow beyond its original use case? Maybe, maybe not. Sandbox, Sand has its own coin for Sand. Gala has his own coin as well. So it's all about the popularity of it, the likability, and most importantly, the utility to see what's going to happen.
Very cool. And I don't want to let the moment pass without going back to one thing that Tony mentioned, which is you should really check out Phoenix Studios, especially if you're in the tri-state area. It's a gorgeous recording studio, video production studio, and you can go to Phoenix Studios, FENIX Studios.com, and check it out. It has everything from rehearsal spaces to, like I mentioned, video production and full on audio recording and lessons, you name it. It's a beautiful place, and every time I go, I tell Tony how jealous I am that he has it.
If only you live closer.
Yeah, I know. So true, so true. But yes, I would buy Phoenix Coin for sure.
Awesome. Look, there you go. I got my first customer.
Go on, there you go.
So we were talking about. So the last thing to talk about is NFTs. So NFTs, as I was saying before, ties in all this stuff. NFTs right now, people are creating NFTs, and then they're putting them out on the market. They're buying them. They're flipping them. There's ways for the creator to make money over its lifetime, and there's ways, obviously, for people to make money just by flipping it on and on and on. NFTs can have utility or just be artwork. A picture on your wall. Why is it valuable? It's valuable because we give it value. Why is a Picasso valuable? It's just because we give it value. So that's why we're in right now. But NFTs have a much greater use that nobody is really talking about yet. And the real use of NFTs, I don't want to say real, I should say a bigger use for NFTs that's coming up is the same way that you take, a DVD that you own or a movie that you own or something like that. Think of owning a Star Wars movie. And right now coming up is you're going to have the version of Star Wars that is digital, that is its own NFT that you can buy, sell. So you own it. Netflix, when you watch a movie, you don't own that movie. You're paying for the right to watch that movie. You're paying for the right to stream that movie. But now you're going to be able to own a copy of Star Wars. Right now on the internet, if you downloaded a copy of Star Wars illegally or not or whatever, you own that you own that version of it, right? So you have a version of it on your computer, MP3 file, Star Wars episode, whatever. If I go over to Rob and I say, Rob, you should buy this for me, you just laugh at me. He'd be like, why would I going to buy your MP3 of the thing? I would just do the same thing and download it if you were being legal, of course, just to explain it. Or I would go buy the real copy. So it's like this weird gray area where it doesn't make sense. But now it's going to be like, I have it, I can sell it to you, it's digital. So that goes forward in a lot of ways for everything. We're gonna leave behind the versions of things where you own the physical item of it and you just own the digital version of it. You're gonna see like mortgages and different contracts all go online on smart contracts, probably on Ethereum, and they'll all be digital on the blockchain, being sold, being utilized there only. And paper will be a funny thing to our grandchildren. We'll be like, you use paper? You cut down trees to write on paper to do things. It's going to be something like that. Everything will be digital. Everything will be transparent, and you'll be able to see exactly what you did and what's going on. You'll be able to buy, sell, and trade all these things. It'll start with video games. It's going to start with movies, and it's just going to grow from there. And the financial side, you'll see contracts, like I said, mortgages, I believe, and all sorts of financial gains that are already in place right now. But NFTs are really the future of owning virtual digital items, and it's going to go so much beyond where the small view we have right now of just artwork, NFTs, and in little parcels of land and items in games. It's going to go much bigger.
Yeah, I think the best analogy that you used at one point, which I think helps me wrap my head around it a little more, is for those of you who play games that have like loot boxes, where you find a loot box and there's this rare gun that these people who play constantly can never find that gun or get that gun, and what winds up happening is right now software companies, you go offline, you buy tokens, and then you can buy that gun or whatever it is. But there could be rare instances in this virtual world just like that. You can buy that rare gun. I think unless it has to be limited for it to really work as far as value goes. Like there has to be, there's only 10 of these guns in existence, and then if you get one, you get to sell it for, to somebody who really wants it.
Right.
So I guess what's going to happen is these companies that are hosting it are going to take a cut of every transaction. It's not going to be where they're just going to let people swap and spend money without them, because they'd be missing out on that whole thing.
Right. And artists do that now as well too. Artists will create an NFT for you, and then they'll take a percentage, and that percentage is carried over every single time it moves through the hands of different people. They're making their percentage, and that's a good point. I definitely think that the companies will have a thing on it where their percentage is there and they're making money every time that thing gets transacts. And it's great because you can have independent creators making a lot more income from their games, because before it was just doing subscription model. and then some will do play to earn, and then you're making money, and you have these games that are on your phone making millions of dollars per day, which is incredible. So right now, not only will they make that same revenue, but now like you're opening up to NFTs where like it's just adding a whole new layer on top of what you're already doing.
Yeah, and hopefully, because mobile games and games that have microtransactions, as far as gamers go, they are a big no-no. Like it's disgusting what they are now. But now all of a sudden, you're putting the power in the hands of the player, so the player can resell that gun. Now all of a sudden, as long as whatever you purchase does not affect the tilt of the game, that's a big deal that has to be thought out, because you shouldn't be one guy who has only a few hours a month to play a game shouldn't be able to throw down $300 and be the same level as someone who puts the time into the game and plays it the way it's supposed to be played. So my concern is trusting a company like EA with NFTs and what they're going to do with it. Trusting a company like that can take advantage of with microtransactions, and the game is really nothing more than, like when you get a buttered bagel, the bagel is really just a butter distribution system to get butter into your face. Whereas they're making games, especially these shitty mobile games, where the game is irrelevant. It's just a way to get you to start spending more money within the game.
Oh my god, yeah, and that is what I was before. I was speaking about Wondermind, and that's kind of what it is. It's just there's no game to it. You walk up to a meteor, it looks like a game. You press the button once, and your guy mines it. It comes out, and you're literally just looking at your inventory, waiting for the time you can have the stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be defeated in the future, because people are like, why am I doing this? It's not a game.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, play to earn, that's already a problem. Yeah, people get upset the fact that I'm going to put 50 hours into this game, and then this guy comes along and he's an adult, so not compared to a kid that doesn't have the money. It's this adult spends, $500 and he buys his way to the top. That happens, and that's kind of what it is. But and at the same time, people usually make a lot of money off the play to earn games, because it allows people to get in usually for free, that everyone can play. And some people are spending money, and some people are just playing, growing. So it's always going to be a problem that somebody can skip the line with money, or they can play to get to the same spot.
Yep. Yeah. So look, thankfully, most of the time, the gamers speak. In terms of the mobile, it's already a mess. So people don't know any better. They're going to Candy Crush their brains into into a coma, and that's all well and good. But whenever actual gaming tries that, the community has pushed back so violently on it that they wind up recanting or changing the model so that it doesn't tilt the balance of the game, which is really all anything, because you want to sell hats and skins and gun skins and other cool looking guns that have the same functionality as one you can get in game. I'm fine with that, but do not tilt the balance of any gaming experience.
Right. Take an example from Ready Player One. They show the owner of IOI, and he has the awesome, in their movie, in that world 2030, whatever year it was. He has his chair that is the ultimate experience of being VR. And in it, you could tell this guy has any item he can buy, whatever he wants to do. He has the best of everything. And then you have the everyone else in the movie that's just coming up, and they only have their items by what they've won or what they've earned. And this is it. You're not going to be able to really get rid of the class society.
Nope. It's going to pass on. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they'll think of something, but as of right now, I don't think that's going to go away.
Yeah, but the class is going to be a little different, because your rich people are going to be a bunch of 17-year-old kids who just have been in it long. And
absolutely, because you have a lot of kids, teenagers becoming rich overnight on the NFTs right now.
Yep.
It's going to be an interesting future.
Yep, I completely agree.
Yeah. So I think that wraps us up here. We went over Decentraland, NFTs, getting into VR, and also Rob's VR game of the week.
Can I add one more thing before? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, sure.
So I was telling Tony before we started, I would like to make a wish once a week on something I wish that was available that could make this whole process easier, smoother, or cooler. And we kind of touched on this a little earlier, but my wish is I would like a centralized avatar that you can use anywhere in any game and any platform. You should be able to create one avatar, and whether I'm in the Oculus Quest, inside Facebook Horizons, or I'm in Steam VR in another game, the avatar that's me is me, no matter where it is. That seems like a little thing, but you have to create a new avatar for every one of these individual experiences I talked about. They're starting to come up with where when you go into it, it'll just pass your system avatar in. So on on the Oculus side, your Oculus avatar becomes your guy. Sometimes it happens in Steam, but far too many times, all of these different, if you had the same avatar everywhere you went, all of a sudden it's already not as segmented as it could be. So you look different in one thing than you do in another, and you do in another. Wouldn't it be great if there was one central place to make one avatar? There are some. There was one called Ready Player Me, I think it is, and it lets you build an avatar, and you can pass it on to VR chat, and you can pass it on to a couple of different applications, but it's not a standard.
Right. I think that'll come, because that is what you're describing is exactly the metaverse. You want one representation of you wherever you go. That's you, and you can play any game you want. You can go to buy something anywhere you want. So we're on our way there. But I think before we get there, we're gonna have to battle the infinite metaverses, because everyone's gonna make one, and it's gonna be who makes one that actually clicks and everyone gets into, and then everyone will conform. And then you'll have that period of where you can finally have your one avatar, your one wallet, your one everything to go on the internet and game and do whatever.
Yep. And one last thing to mention, we do have an email address now. You can start to write us. We're going to start reading mail that we get and start interacting with you guys a bunch more. And both the website, but most importantly, let's start with the email address. You can write us at, conveniently enough, nerds@rhgshow.com. That's nerds@rhgshow.com. Right, if there's any segments you'd like to hear us talk about, anything, questions on what Tony and I have talked about, but every week we're going to keep coming back with that stuff, but contributions from you are going to play a big part in it too, for sure.
Absolutely. Write in wherever you want us to cover, and we will cover it. We're loving everything that's coming out technology-wise, and we're as excited as you guys are, so let us know.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, I'm Tony. This is Rob, and as always, we're ready, head, set, go. We had a great time today. We covered a lot of awesome things, and we hopefully will see you soon in our next episode. So thanks a lot for hanging out with us. We'll see you soon.